Right, we are live. Hello, folks. Chuck Holton here. And I went and found a nice, quiet place to set up so that I could do my live. And 10 seconds before I go live, I got a whole bunch of kids down here that decided to come literally play soccer right behind me. And so if you hear screaming and yelling, that's those kids down there having a good time. And it is 7 o'clock at night here in Jerusalem, which is what, 7 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time, where it's just now noon. And so I wanted to give you an update on what's happening with the war, and kind of there's some breaking news that's just come out a few minutes ago I want to share, and I want to talk a little bit about what's in the future in the next week or so for me. So I'll be doing that over the course of the next few minutes. So just right off the bat, I hope that you will subscribe to CBN News YouTube page. Go down, hit that subscribe button, and if you hit the notification bell, then when we're going to go live and we schedule a live broadcast, you'll be able to know beforehand before we go live. And so we're going to... These kids just decided to come run around here. That's great. Love the kids. Hey, this is a beautiful spot though, isn't it? Right outside the Jaffa Gate, which is right back behind me right there. That's the Jaffa Gate here in the old city of Jerusalem. It's a beautiful night out. And so obviously people are out walking with their families, having a good time. And they are, we have not had an air raid siren in Jerusalem in the month that I've been here. I think we've had one, maybe two total air raid sirens here in Jerusalem. It's not likely that they're going to intentionally fire a missile toward this spot because we're too close to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is just about, I don't know, half a mile that way, maybe less. And they don't want to take the chance of hitting the Al-Aqsa Mosque. But a lot of those missiles, they just shoot them toward Israel. They don't really have any, they don't really care where they're going to hit. So it's very possible that they could, one could land here. And when the alarm goes off, we do seek cover because their Iron Dome system is so good that when a missile gets fired from Gaza or from the north in Lebanon, within seconds, they can figure out exactly where that thing is going to hit, more or less. And so they only hit the alarms for that specific area. Whereas like when I was in Ukraine last year, every time a plane took off inside Russia, they would sound the alarm over the entire country of Ukraine. And so it got to the point where people were just sort of inured to those alarms going off and they didn't even react. They just sort of kept going about their business, which is not the safest thing to do, but that was the system that they have, Here, the system is much, much better. So if that alarm goes off, there's a rocket coming for you. And so you find cover. You go to shelter quickly. Here in Jerusalem, we would have maybe a minute or more to seek cover, whereas down in the south, it's just a matter of seconds, maybe sometimes 7 or 10 seconds, something like that. And that's part of the breaking news that's come out just now from the IDF. They released some numbers as far as the rocket fire that has been rained down on Israel over the last month and a couple days. They what they found is that the Hamas and Hezbollah, mostly Hamas in Gaza, have fired more than 9,500 rockets in the last 30 days. That is an absolutely astounding number of rockets coming out of such a small place down there. They must have rockets shoved in every closet, every basement, every gas station, every place in Gaza and that's really what the IDF is finding now. They're coming up across a lot of launch sites, a lot of rockets. So those launch sites are built into buildings. So you wonder why You know, they're still able to be firing rockets even today after their full-scale invasion. The IDF has hundreds of thousands of troops going into Gaza and fighting in there. They've encircled Gaza City, and yet there's still rockets coming out of there. And the reason is because they've actually built them into buildings so they don't have to do anything. They can set it to go off at a certain time, and there's nobody around by the time it goes off. And do I know of the laser defense system? Yes, Roderick, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. That laser defense system is part of the Iron Dome, the entire system, right? And so there are, I think, 4 or 5 different, I'd say 5 different types of weapons that they use to knock rockets out of the sky. They have the original Iron Dome system, which is a short-range system. They have the David Sling system, and I'm spacing on the name of the other one, David Sling and something else, that are kind of medium range that can knock rockets out of the sky. And then they have, this is not the microphone, and then they have the long range system called the Arrow system. Add to that the Patriot systems that the United States has sent over, and they've got the most comprehensive air defense system of any country in history ever, right? And no, it's not the Iron Needle. They also have the this laser system that we're talking about, which I think is called the Iron Beam. And I think they only have maybe 1 or 2 of those. Those are sort of in the prototype stage, right? So Dan, thank you. So that prototype stage, you know, they're just testing it out in real life conditions. And I guess it's been pretty successful. It's much, much cheaper than the other systems that they have. And so that's a really good thing. And if they can get, if they had those things all over this country, that'd be a total game changer. Like nobody would even worry about rockets anymore. Hamas could just fire the, you know, knock yourself out, guys. Fire all the rockets you want because none of them are getting through. And it's going to cost us like, you know, less than we spent on lunch to knock them out of the sky. So especially considering how expensive food is here. You remember the story of my $196 steak the other day here in Jerusalem. Yikes, that was a lot. You like that Israeli flag back there? Isn't that amazing? They are being here. I'm gonna, again, this is the reason we do these live, so I can show you not just the highly polished, you know, news, but I'm going to show you the rest of the world, what I'm seeing here as I'm doing my job. I'm going to tilt up and show you they've got these projectors right here, and those projectors project that flag on the wall, and they've got them all along here. It's really cool. I just thought that was a great background for tonight. Plus, you know, it's cool to be down here at the Western Wall. I went to the Western Wall to do my podcast. If you want to follow my personal podcast, where I talk about a lot more stuff, you can go over to the Hot Zone with Chuck Holton here on YouTube, and you can follow me over there. I am trying to do daily live updates from there as well, and talk about similar but, you know, some different things over there. So back to this Iron Dome system. The IDF has been, I guess, tracking data on the Iron Dome system to find out just how successful it is. And so get this, here's the numbers that they just put out. The Hamas and Hezbollah have fired 9,500 rockets in the last 30 couple days since October 7th. 9,500 rockets. To put that into perspective, if you go back to the war in 2014, here comes an ambulance, my favorite ambulance, comes every night and has to drive circles around me while I'm doing the live broadcast. Never fails, never fails. Oh, they got caught. There's something going on. It's right over there. Here, I'm going to turn the camera around because it looks like it's happening right in front of us here. Maybe they're just trying to get that guy through. There is the ambulance, and it's pulling up right there. Tell you what, why don't we walk down there and we'll see if there's anything we're seeing while I keep talking. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up stakes here and we're gonna walk down there because we can do that. This is YouTube Live. This is happening right now, folks. We're gonna go see what's going on down here. Anyway, so in the 2014 war, which lasted for 50 days, whoop, good grief, I just dropped my camera. Guess I didn't have it tight enough on there. Oh man, I guess tighten that thing up a little bit. All right, so the 2014 war lasted for 50 days, and they fired a total of 4,000 rockets in almost 2 months, okay? This time, they've fired 9,500 rockets in 30 couple days. That is a record of some sort. I don't know if Guinness follows, things like rocket attacks, but if they did, this would probably be a world record. Maybe only surpassed by Russia, which had a whole lot more rockets to begin with when they invaded Ukraine, although they are running out very quickly of their stocks of rockets as well. So, yeah, there's somebody on the street. Looks like maybe a motorbike crashed or something. We'll go over here and see what's going on. There, oh, no, okay, so here's something cool. You see those little motorbikes right there? Those are medic motorbikes. These yellow ones right here. Those yellow motorbikes are hospital motorbikes. They have medics that will come running when somebody gets hurt, and those things can get into places that are harder to get into with a big ambulance. And I'm not saying that they'll put somebody on the, it looks like a guy just fell over. Go up here. If it's nothing, I'm just gonna walk off because I don't want to be an ambulance chaser. Yeah, it looks like just an old guy that maybe had a heart attack or something. So I'm gonna go ahead and head back down here. But I can tell you about these motorbikes. They've got these cool medics on motorbikes that will come and can get there faster. So that's cool. Here comes one right now. And look, he's got a big, here he comes. See him go by there? Isn't that cool? And I just have to say, look at that tiny little police car right there. I think you need one for each foot if you're gonna, I mean, it looks like a roller skate. Looks like a sewing machine with doors on it. That's really funny. But anyway, so let's go back to the rocket attacks. We have 9,500 rockets that have been fired in the last 30 days, right? Okay. Of those, they say 12% approximately have fallen short inside Gaza. And that means they have been killing and wounding hundreds or thousands of Gazans in the, as they try to attack Israel. So, okay, we'll just set it right there. There we go. Okay, so 12% of them have fallen short. The Iron Dome system has, and I'm referring to the Iron Dome system as all of those systems, not just not just the actual Iron Dome system, but I'm talking about all the different, things that they have networked together. They have managed to shoot down about 2,000 of those rockets, of those 9,500 rockets. Now that doesn't mean that there he goes. Wonder what'll happen next. So, okay, where was I? That doesn't mean that if they shot down 2,000 of the 9,500, that the rest of those landed and hurt and killed people. Very, very few of them actually landed in built-up areas. Their system is so good that it can tell if the rocket is going to land someplace where they need to intercept it or not within seconds after it's launched. And so they go and, you know, when the rocket gets launched, they determine whether or not it needs to be shot down. And if it does, then they shoot it down. And then if it doesn't, they just let it go and it lands out in a field somewhere, or, you know, where it's not going to hurt anybody. I found a piece of one of those rockets the other day. I don't know if it was a piece of the Iron Dome rocket that shot it down, or a piece of the actual rocket that was coming toward Israel, but it's a fin off one of those, and I keep meaning to show it to you, and I keep forgetting to bring it with me. But anyway, it's their success rate at shooting down rockets that need to be shot down is more than 95%. Now, they don't give the exact success rate out, but they have said before that their success rate is like 95%. So that's pretty amazing. I mean, like I say, here in Jerusalem, we don't get a lot of rocket attacks, but if you're in Tel Aviv or Ashdod or Ashkelon or someplace like that, you're getting a ton of rocket attacks every day. Now, in the last couple days, the number of rocket attacks out of Gaza has declined quite a bit. And we've noticed that. There's been noticeable decline. And specifically, what's declined are the long-range rockets. The short-range rockets are the ones that are like homemade, right? They're pretty much homemade. And so, you know, they're not going to go very far. But the long-range rockets are the ones that are likely made by Iran or North Korea or someplace like that. And those ones have been declining precipitously in the amount of rockets being shot over the last couple of days. Why? Most likely because they take a lot longer to set up. You have to be a lot more precise with targeting those things and stuff. And so spending a lot of time out of doors in Gaza right now, especially if you're anywhere near a rocket array, is a lot like a suicide mission. So a lot of people probably don't want to do that at the moment, or don't have time. I would say we will know that Israel has met their first objective of the objectives that they set forth when they went into when they went into Gaza. They set forth specific objectives, and one of which was to safeguard the people from these daily rocket attacks. And so I would say that when we see the rocket attacks stop, there's no more rocket attacks coming out of Gaza, that's going to be a blessed day for sure. And it'll be a day of victory for Israel, without a doubt, right? So, folks, if you want to donate to CBN, you can donate right here by doing the thanks, super chat, stickers, all that kind of stuff. And you just do that by going to the bottom right-hand side of the screen and clicking thanks, or if you can't see it, it's in those little 3 dots on the right-hand side of the screen. You hit those 3 dots, hit thanks, and then you can choose how much you want to donate. And we use that to help us keep on working over here. We are switching out our teams this weekend for a little bit of time. I'll tell you what my plans are. And so what I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm going to go to Jordan. I'm going to go across the land border down by the Dead Sea and cross into Jordan and go to Amman. Why am I doing that? Because right now, flying out of Tel Aviv in Israel, you are relegated to flying El Al, which is a fine airline, but the security to get on an El Al flight is something out of a horror movie. I mean, you know, I've had my share of gate rape for sure, but this is another level. The last couple times I've been out of Tel Aviv, man, they pull every single thing out of your bag and they look at your cameras and they say, "What is this?" As if you're like, "That's a lens?" And they're like, "How does it work?" And you're going, "Seriously? You've never seen a lens before?" You know, they swab you down, they put you through all sorts. I mean, it takes hours and it's very frustrating. And it makes you kind of go, whatever they're doing to the Palestinians in Gaza, I hope they do it some more, because they really make me miserable going through the airport. I don't mean that killing civilians though, but I just mean that when they are forced to have such stringent security that it makes you feel like they have a committee of people at El Al that sits around and goes like, how could we make flying more excruciating? You know, what could we add to this process that really wouldn't do much in the way of security, but would definitely make people hate us? You know, that it feels like that's what they're doing. And so I would much rather fly any other airline besides El Al because of that. But El Al's the only airline you can fly out of Tel Aviv until I think the 16th of this month, when other airlines will start flying. But if you fly out of Amman, it's not that much more time to get there than it would take you having to get gate raped at Tel Aviv. But it's about half the price to fly out of Amman. And I'm told it's pretty safe, more or less. And I'm not going to wear a yarmulke or anything, so I'm probably going to be all right. And I will let you know. So stay tuned for the broadcast tomorrow night, because tomorrow night I will be doing my live from Amman, Jordan, and I'll tell you what the situation is like over there. Now, you know, Jordan and Israel, they get along pretty good. This is strained relationships a little bit, but they say it's still fairly safe over there. And, you know, Jordan doesn't have oil or anything like that. Jordan doesn't, you know, their oil is tourism. They have a lot of really cool tourism sites. And actually, I hate to say this while I'm in Israel, but I like going to Jordan as for the history and stuff as much or more as I like coming to Israel, because Israel is kind of like Disneyland for Christians. You know, it's very clean, it's very highly produced, as you can see here behind me. They've got, you know, all this fun stuff, and but everywhere you go here, they've got security. It's like, please stay on the lighted path, you know, and it's all very canned. You got to pay money to get in to see the Garden Tomb, where, geez, I mean, that's, you know, and of course everything's very contentious and stuff over here between the Arabs and the Jews, and even the Christians. But you go to Jordan, and I think the king of Jordan has put out a memo that said to all of his citizens, if you make a tourist in our country feel unwelcome, you and your whole family will disappear. That's what I think happened, because when you go to Jordan, people just fall all over themselves trying to make you feel welcome. That's one word everybody knows in Jordan is welcome, 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 welcome. And of course, they all want money from you too. So I have always felt very, very welcome when I've gone to Jordan. And it's been a long time since I've been there, so I'm interested to see how much it has changed. Okay, let's talk about the story that you all told me to do yesterday. If you remember, I gave you the option of which story I would do today, which you guys thought was pretty cool. It's kind of like choose your own adventure. So I was going to either go down to the Egyptian border, because there's an aid convoy that was supposedly going into Gaza from Israel down by the border. And so I was going to do that, or there are these American cowboys who came over to Israel to help Israeli farmers who now don't have any workers because all their workers got scared and went home. And so I went, yeah, can we get rid of Blondie, please, guys? Just inappropriate. So that's what I did. I went up and I met with these American cowboys. They've just been here for a couple days, and they were out at work, hard at work, in the fields, helping to harvest some zucchini and pickles and stuff, or not pickles, cucumbers, from the of a small Israeli farmer right on the Jordanian border. And when I say right on the border, I mean right on the border. Like, there was the field, there was a little road, and there was the border fence right there. And so they went out today. It was very hot down by the, kind of just north of the Dead Sea. They went down and they just put themselves to work, rolled up their sleeves, and started harvesting the vegetables for this guy. And that guy came out and he was almost in tears. He was just so grateful for what they were doing. And I talked to the guys who, they came over here with Ha-Yovel. That's the guys I was with last week in Judea and Samaria. And they've been here, they were like, this is funny, we've been here for 20 years doing this and nobody said a word about it. And now somebody saw these guys at the airport in Atlanta and it went viral on the internet. And now they're on, like, they're journalists coming out all over the place wanting to tell their story. And this is something that's been, is the crest behind me made in the wall? No, it's part of that. Yeah, no, it's being like projected up there like the other stuff. There's another one down that way on each one of these. They have that coat of arms. I think that's maybe like King David's coat of arms or something. Hey, thank you very much, Michael. It is beautiful though, isn't it? Very nice. Blaine, thanks. So I went out and got to interview some of these guys. They're just young, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids coming from like Montana and Arkansas and places like that. And some of them have been here before with Ha-Yovel, so they knew about it. And they came over to help the farmers and to help distribute aid that is being collected through they call it Operation Ittai, I-T-T-A-I. I-T-T-A-I, yeah, that's right. Ittai, Operation Ittai. I think you can find out about it if you go to serveisrael.com, serveisrael.com. And they are trying to raise $29 million to get basic necessities, security-wise, for the people the Jews who live in Judea and Samaria. This is, again, if you haven't seen the previous broadcast that I did about this topic, these are settlers, Jewish settlers in what the world calls the West Bank, that is biblical Judea and Samaria. And a lot of people, you'll hear in the news that these people are, yeah, the Israel guys, that YouTube channel, that's right. They have their own YouTube channel called the Israel Guys. These people live there legally. They have every right to live there according to Israeli law. This is in areas that are administered and secured by Israel. They have building permits to build their houses there, and et cetera, et cetera. So they're all legal. But the UN and world bodies have said, you know, those guys are illegal because they're staying in the West Bank. Well, illegal by what measure? They're not breaking the law of the land that they live in. So again, that would be kind of like Canada saying that my guns are illegal in West Virginia. I don't care what Canada thinks. I'm not breaking the law in West Virginia. So, you know, I don't know what they think I don't know why they think they can tell Israel what's legal and not legal in their own country. But, you know, the bottom line is They are not illegal. If anybody's illegal, it's the Arabs who are building in that same region, because not because they don't have a right to be there. They have every right to build there, but because they don't get building permits, they just start building. They just take over some land that belongs to the government and they just start building on it. So that's why those people are illegal, and why you'll see from time to time that the government of Israel sends a bulldozer in there to bulldoze their house down, because they're building a house on government land without a building permit, without permission. That's it. Point, period, end of story. It's not because Israel doesn't like Arabs or they don't allow Arabs to live there or anything. Arabs, there's no place in Israel where Arabs are not allowed to go. There are places in Israel where Israelis are not allowed to go inside the West Bank, and that's so, you know, it's if anything, it's an apartheid state against the Israelis, not against the Arabs. I mean, if you go right inside these walls down here at the Jaffa Gate, let's walk down that way because we need to change the scenery. So I'm going to pick you up and we'll walk down that way a little bit. Let's drop that down. Okay. I'm just going to keep an eye on the time. So I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see where I'm walking. You don't need to see me. Whoa. It's all zoomed in. Why is it all zoomed in? Hang on a second. Let me fix that. There we go. Make you seasick having to see that. Okay. So if you go right inside the old city here, through the Jaffa Gate, the first thing you'll see on the right is King David's tomb. And to the right is the Armenian quarter. Straight ahead is the, well, I guess on the left would be the Christian quarter, or I forget what it is on the left, and then straight ahead is the Arab quarter up on the right. But most of the shopkeepers that have their shops open down there right now are all Palestinians. They're all Arabs. And they come in here. Some of them live in here, but some of them come in here from the West Bank to work. Right now you'll see a lot of things closed because it's almost 8 o'clock at night. But there are still some things open in here. Let's see. Let's walk in here. The police get a little jumpy in here. They've had a lot of attacks. Well, I say a lot. They've had several attacks, more than usual, in the old city since October 7th, where people just get, you know, stabbed or something like that. They had a policewoman day before yesterday that was stabbed by an Arab woman and killed. That guy's got a rifle. You'll see a lot of guys wandering around with their rifles now in civilian clothes, but they just don't go anywhere without them. And that makes me feel safer, actually. I'd say that's a good thing. So we're walking through the Jaffa Gate here into the old city. And look how beautiful it is. Isn't it nice? Over here on the right, this is King David's tower coming up. So the Tower of David right there. Okay, so that's the map. The Armenian Orthodox on the right. Over here on the left is the Latin Patriarchate. And then 6 is the Greek Orthodox up here. This one, let's see, 3 is the Greek Catholic Patriarchate. Anyway, so there's the map. Everything's pretty much closed up now. But here we are in the old city. Yeah, isn't that nice? It's beautiful here. It's a little bit more noisy here because there's a lot of cars go by, and this road is, you know, cobblestone, so it's kind of noisy, but we'll stand here for a minute and see if anybody bugs us about being here. I had some policemen tell me I needed to move along when I was down here earlier. If you want to see the live that I did from the Western Wall earlier today, you can go over to my podcast, The Hot Zone, here on YouTube, and you can watch that. It was kind of interesting. Can Americans go anywhere? Well, they can. Legally, technically, you can go anywhere, including the areas that are off limits to Israelis, but it's not advisable. You're going to get told don't go into those A zones in the West Bank because you'll get killed. And there was a story I told a couple days ago about a German guy who, I guess he was like, you know, angry about what Israel is doing in Gaza, and so he's like, I'm going to stand with the Palestinians. So he came to Tel Aviv and he rented a car and he drove to the West Bank and drove right into one of those A zones to stand with the Palestinians. And there was a Israeli flag sticker on his car from the car rental agency. And he didn't get very far in the A zone, and they pulled him out of his car and beat him severely and burned the car. So I wonder if he still stands with the Palestinians or not. Maybe he can't stand anymore. I don't know. So if you go back through here, if you just go straight down this way, it's about a third of a mile maybe down through the market down there to get to the Western Wall. About halfway down, you take a left and you go up to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. If you take a left and then a right and keep going out that direction, you come upon the Via Dolorosa, where Jesus carried his cross out to Golgotha. And that's very meaningful to me, to go and you know, go walk where Jesus walked. That's something else. Hannah says, can you cover in Gaza? Well, Hannah, I have been trying to get into Gaza since day one of the invasion, along with about 10,000 other journalists. Today, they've been telling me, you're on the list, you're on the list, you're on the list. Today, they put out a memo that said, we just can't guarantee your safety if you go into Gaza, so we've decided that nobody can go for the time being. We're not going to allow anybody to go in for the indefinite future until we decide that it's safe, which is kind of frustrating because if I wanted safe, I wouldn't be doing this job. And I know I know when to duck. I'm not stupid. So I would happily go in on the back of a tank or with an infantry unit or anything. I mean, I was in the military for 8 years, 4 of those as a U.S. Army Ranger. If you've seen the movie Black Hawk Down, that was my unit. 6 of the guys that were killed in that mission were friends of mine. And I left the Ranger unit about a year before they went to Somalia. But, you know, I saw combat in Panama. And then I've seen plenty of combat as a journalist since then, over the last 20 years, a lot more than I ever saw as a soldier. And so, you know, I know when to duck. I know how to get around in a combat environment. But I also understand that IDF knows it's not going to look good if they get a journalist killed. But it's frustrating for me because I would really, really, really like to get in there. And so if they're not going to let us go for the, you know, for the time being, this would be a good time for me to head back to the States for a week and take care of some business. I'm going to go back to Panama day after tomorrow, change out my clothes, my suitcase, get my gear cleaned up and everything. Thank you, Coca-Cola. And then I'm going to I got a speech in Texas, Big Sandy, Texas, on the 17th at the Alert Academy. And then I'm coming straight back here. So I'll be back here by like the 19th. and should be here through Christmas, more or less, Christmas time, Christmas-ish. Do I ever experience fear? Well, I'll answer that question. No, I don't. I actually wrote a book about that. And you can go find my books at chuckholton.locals.com or just Google my name. You'll find out way more about me than you ever wanted to know, I promise. And just remember, I was young, I needed the money. And but you can find all my books on Amazon. And my book, Bulletproof, the subtitle of the book is The Making of an Invincible Mind. And in my book, Bulletproof, I lay out how I came to learn how to be completely fearless, how not to have fear. And I don't get afraid anymore. And I've been doing this job for 20 years. There are certainly times when I go, ooh, a guy could get hurt going over there, or maybe this is not a good situation. But I'm not afraid, and I don't feel fear. And I really believe that when you understand that objective risk has more to do with your standing before the Most High God than it has to do with your... Hold on. Got some guys that are angry over here. If anything goes wrong over here, I want to know. Your objective risk has a lot more to do with your standing before the Most High God than it has to do with your external circumstances. And I'm not saying that, you know, if I just have enough faith that I'll never get hurt or never get killed doing this job, I could very much get hurt or killed doing this job. And that would be okay, because God is writing this story, not me. And so if you hear people yelling and screaming, and you guys tell me if you see those cops behind me start running. If they start running, I'm going to start running. I'm going to move this over here so I can see them back there. Those are some police officers right there. So if I see them take off running, then I'll know something's going bad. But yeah, that's right. We are to fear God. But if you do fear God, then you need fear nothing else. And so the only fear that I have, which is, you know, that's the only fear you choose. The rest of the fear is an emotion that you feel. That feeling that, oh man, I could be about to get killed, is, you know, just fine. But I don't feel fear because I feel like God is in control, and I would much rather be charging into a hail of bullets and know that I'm where I'm supposed to be, that I'm doing what God made me to do, than to be sitting on my couch outside of God's will. I mean, just look at the story of King David. This is King David's tower right here. Somebody asked where I am. I'm in the old city of Jerusalem, and that's David's tower right there behind me. King David, in the story of Bathsheba, don't run me over. The story of Bathsheba, the Bible says, what is that, 2 Samuel, or book of Samuel, it was the springtime of the year when kings go off to war. And where was David? David was sitting on his couch. David was not out with his troops being a leader like he was supposed to be. His first sin was not the sin that he committed with Bathsheba. His first sin was not being where he was supposed to be. Was he afraid? I don't think he was afraid. I think he was making his decisions based on comfort. He wanted to be comfortable. He says, I am the king. I don't need to go be miserable and sleep in the mud with all the guys. Let the guys go do that, and I'll stay here, right? So I don't want to make my decisions based on comfort or fear or pride. And I think that when I have a right understanding of my place in this world before the Most High God, if I fear God, then I don't have to be afraid of anything else, right? And so that's the answer to that question. Okay, I've got to get going because I've got another live hit coming up pretty quick. And so I appreciate all of you who have come and watched us and stayed online, all the comments. And so looking for most of the comments. I appreciate. But I'll be going live again tomorrow from Amman, Jordan. So stay tuned. If you have any questions, you can reach me at hotzoneholton@gmail.com. Again, you can go to chuckholton.locals.com and follow all my work there. And so stay tuned. God bless you. Let's pray for Israel right now, right here in the old city of Jerusalem. Lord Jesus, it's such a privilege for me to get to be here in the place where you yourself walked and to see the places that you saw with your own eyes. And so I'm just grateful for that. And I'm sad that it has to be under the circumstances of a war, but we know that you're in control. And so we just want to submit ourselves to you, Lord, and we trust you. I pray that all the people watching would also trust you, Father, with their lives, with their futures, and with their present. I pray for the soldiers of the IDF who are currently involved in combat in Gaza. I pray that you would just encircle them with your angels, and that Hamas would see a mighty army coming and would be so afraid that they would drop their weapons and they would surrender. I pray that you would send people to give information to the IDF to release those hostages. And Lord, we just pray that you would get glorified for that. That it would be in a way that's just so miraculous that nobody, not even the IDF, can take credit for it. But it's a miracle that came from you, and everybody will see that, Lord. So go with us tonight in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, folks. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.